Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy, let's talk about meal prep. There is a big emphasis on the word prep. Meal prep doesn't just mean about prepping your food. A huge overlooked part of meal prep is the planning. If you don't have a clear plan on what you are making, nor have we checked what the calories and macros are, then it's going to be much harder to stay in an aggressive deficit. You are likely to see very little progress, and ultimately, saying you're dieting and actual dieting are two very different things. So planning, where do we start? Well, we need to decide when we're starting the diet. If you have a high demanding job, you have early starts, late finishes, busy throughout the day, struggle with lunch times, whatever it might be, then I highly recommend starting the diet on a quieter day. So that might be your day off, or it might be the weekend. You'll have less influence from those around you. You'll have less temptation from office snack. You can amend your meals, cook it fresh, and prep for the upcoming week, all while motivation is high and distractions are low. What are we planning your meals around? Keeping it nice and simple, I want you to have a little look around, have a little itinerary check before you start making your shopping list. See what you've already got and think about things that are nice and simple, repeatable, and things that you're going to actually want to eat. Having variety in your meals increases food appeal and so enhances enjoyment, whilst also boosting your appetite, and generally leads to a higher total calorie and nutrients intake. But if you don't like your meals, you're far less likely to actually eat them, and that will lead to a diet flop as well. We need to find meals that you find enjoyable and satisfying.
We want to find foods that hit the spot on a sensory level. Now we're thinking crunchy, salty, sweet, without the dent in calories. Now, this is so important. So does your fiber. Now, fiber is incredibly underrated and most people undershoot it on a daily basis. Now, it may support your satiety, but it also reduces risk of type 2 diabetes, some cancers, all-cause mortality, yada, yada, yada. There's so many benefits to it. Now, if you're even on, say, 1,100 calories, you should still be able to hit 20 to 30 grams of fiber. Now, that's going to make such a difference to your diet. An absolute minimum, we want to be looking at around 15 grams. Now, how are we going to get that in? So fruits, legumes, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds. If you're hitting 2 to 3 portions a day, 4 times a week, now that's going to make it a lot easier to stick to your diet. In your handout, you'll find a list of my top fiber suggestions, and keeping things raw will just mean that you're having to chew and crunch for a lot longer without losing some of that nutrients as well from that steaming and boiling can cause. There is great science to suggest that prolonged chewing, even to a paste in your mouth, can reduce hunger and therefore your food intake on a whole.
Diet isn't meant to be sustainable, nor is it meant to be for a long time. The whole point of an aggressive deficit is that we get in, we get out, and we see mega results. Protein is going to be your most important focus when you're in aggressive fat loss phase. Even if you weren't looking to diet, if just by adding in whey protein and not changing any other thing about your diet, you can reduce fat and increase your muscle mass. However, that doesn't mean just drinking shakes 3 times a day. You'll experience significantly less hunger and food fixation when eating lean protein sources versus the shake diet. Now, what to prep? Keep it simple. 2 proteins, 2 carbs, 2 vegetables. Plan your meals before you shop so you have a clear shopping list. You want to pre-log everything in NutriCheck so you know what quantities to buy and how much protein and fiber you're really getting. I highly recommend keeping breakfasts and lunches the same. You can change up the fruit or flavour, but knowing what you are grabbing early doors will set the tone for the day. We want to plan your last meal of the day to be a larger portion of slow-release protein meal with a mix of fats and fibre. This will improve your protein sympathetic response during an overnight recovery period and potentially improve your morning satiety, which will feel like less hunger when you wake up and feel more full quickly when you do eat. If you're the kind of person that likes to cook things fresh on the day, cool, absolutely fine. There's still things you can do to save time. Now that might be pre-chopping your vegetables, marinating your meat. If you don't want to spend Sunday slaving away in the kitchen, then don't. Pick a day that's more realistic and going to be easier for you to actually plan and prep for. Batch cook 3 to 5 portions. You can always put some in the freezer and defrost the night before. So ways you can actually prep. Firstly, weigh your food raw. You don't have to, but it's a lot less faff. Grabbing a big mixing bowl and weighing out your quantities, just make sure you track them raw or cooked, whichever you choose. Another great way of batch cooking is on the barbecue. That is the mess-free, easy breezy way of just prepping loads of meat at once without the faff. Dieting is hard at the best of times. The first 3 to 10 days are typically the hardest.
Personally, I like loading up a tray full of veggies. This time I'm using sweet potatoes, bung it in the oven, cook it up, and then I'm going to pop that in a different container so that I can use it throughout the week.
Keeping that in mind and having a clear plan around your food will be the difference between you sticking out your diet and getting crazy progress in a short period of time compared to not really getting your feet off the ground, heightened stress, and will have you telling your colleagues that dieting just doesn't work for you. All you have to do is stick out the first 2 weeks. After then, your hunger will significantly reduce. It won't go away, but it will be a lot easier to manage. It's simple. If you want good results, you're going to have to plan and then execute. If you think you haven't got time, then have a little look at your screen time and then tell me if you can't do it. Happy meal prepping!